Ted Rall is going to be here in a few minutes. We are going to hit. There is a weird phenomena in the Democratic Party where they have decided, okay, we have to say something about Israel. They're starving millions of people, including children. You have skeletal kids walking around, the kids literally dropping dead. That looks bad. We've backed Israel to the hilt, politically, financially, etc. We have ignored a genocide that has taken place and paid for that genocide, by the way, with taxpayer dollars of the United States. So we now need to say something about that. So Hakeem Jeffries, the same guy who came out saying this, and just so we're very clear on what we're talking about here. Right here, starving people. I want you to see it. It looks like the fifth chamber of hell. This is what the Democratic Party has created. Let that sink in, better. It's not conceptual. People are living. You have people literally dropping dead from starvation. Dropping dead from starvation. Hakeem Jeffries puts out a statement. During the first 6 months of Donald Trump's time in office, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza has reached a breaking point. Hostages are still being held with Hamas, despite the president's promise that they will be released. And pre-existing ceasefire the administration inherited has been breached. It wasn't inherited, but let's keep going. The starvation and death of Palestinian children and civilians in the ongoing war zone is unacceptable. The Trump administration has the ability to bring an end to this humanitarian crisis. They must act now. Guess who they haven't mentioned at all in that statement so far? Israel. He hasn't mentioned Israel at all. Let's keep going. It is imperative for the humanitarian aid to be surged into Gaza immediately, the remaining Israeli hostages to be released, and a ceasefire negotiated by the Biden administration restored. Again, that was Witkoff that negotiated that, but let's keep going. We need a just and lasting peace, ultimately, that will occur through a two-state solution that facilitates a state and secure Israeli living side by side with the Palestinian state and provides dignity, self-determination, and prosperity for its people. That's the only time he mentioned Israel in the entire speech or statement. Same Hakeem Jeffries that was saying this a few months ago. Jesus Christ, where is it? Oh, I see what's going on. Same Hakeem Jeffries. They gave the speech.
And then you had to deal with the first intifada, and Israel prevailed. And Israel had to deal with the second intifada, and Israel prevailed. And then missiles were flying in December of 2008, and Israel prevailed. And then missiles were flying in November of 2012, and Israel prevailed. And so I'm confident that when it's all said and done, we're going to stand together. Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel forever. God.
Same guy. Same guy. Hakeem Jeffries is not alone in this. Barack Obama, Cory Booker, all of them have been putting out these mealy-mouthed statements that can't call a genocide because what they realize is, oh my God, you have kids that are walking around in skeletal fashion that are falling and dropping dead from starvation because the Israeli government is committing a genocide, and we've backed and supported that genocide. And even in these statements, cannot point out this is what we are paying for, and this is what Israel is doing. AOC, same thing. This is your Democratic Party. This is your Democratic Party. I want to bring in Ted Rall. Ted Rall is a political cartoonist, syndicated columnist, host of TMI with the beautiful, the one and only, the great Manila Chan. Ted, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing this morning? You doing okay?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Have you noticed these speeches coming out of the Democratic Party? It's almost like they've realized, oh my God, we've backed, supported, and paid for a genocide. We have skeletal kids that are walking around that are dropping dead. And so we need to say something about it. And whether it's Barack Obama, whether it's Cory Booker, whether it's, again, charisma of a damp rag, Hakeem Jeffries, They can't call a spade because of the political associations to which they've associated themselves with. And yet they're pulling this Joe Biden nonsense of I'm working tirelessly for a ceasefire, when you realize Joe Biden wasn't working tirelessly for anything. These people support this genocide, just like the Europeans support this genocide. I don't care what they say. I care what they do. And in the context of even these mealy-mouthed statements is a statement below the statement to which they're making. And that statement is, we can't say anything strong against the people who back us. Give me your take on this. Did you disagree with that?
Well, it's hard for me not to be even more cynical than usual with based on what you just described. But I'm what's clear here, and what's been clear for a long time.
Ted, can you put up your mic just a little bit?
Oh, okay, sure. Let's do this. All right, let's touch a settings button to make sure it's working right. Okay, how's that?
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, cool. All right. So, I mean, basically what happens here, I think, is, in the case of Hakeem Jeffries, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, anyone, I don't really know that they actually foundationally believe in or against anything at all. I think that it's, they're about as bound to their positions as someone who's a hedge fund, a trader, a stock trader is to a particular stock. They place bets, right? So, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, betting on the side of Israel over Palestine probably was a pretty good bet. You would get more, obviously the Palestinians didn't have much money to donate to your campaign. AIPAC and the Israel lobby did. It was safer. You would have interference run for you in corporate-owned newspapers who were also pro-Zionist, and it just seemed like it would work out. And really, pretty much since 1948 until I would say maybe about a year ago, being pro-Israel was the safe bet, and it paid. It literally paid. Now, it's these guys are looking at it like a stock trader, and they're like, man, I don't know if Israel is a hold anymore, and it might be a sell. And it's like, but what do I do? Because I went long in this position. I gave speeches like the one that you just broadcast. I have all these statements in my past, and these days with the internet, everything lives forever. So, what do I do? How do I backpedal? I know that I'm going to get my ass kicked now in my market position, in my ideological position, which are the same thing, because I bet wrong. There's part of the reason that people like you and I admired Bernie Sanders was because he believed, whether you agree with him or not, this is a guy who always believed what he believed. And he believed it when it was unpopular, when he was marginalized, when he was made fun of, when it harmed him, when it kept him out of power. That's called integrity. Integrity is doing what you think is right, even when it harms you. Now, most politicians, of course, don't know what integrity is and don't have integrity. It's not part of their job. And so, people like Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they all know better. They just don't care. And so basically they've been on Team Israel because that was the winning team. Now it's like, oh boy, we have 60 countries out of 197 that are recognizing Palestine as a state. France, big game changer. I said it last week. That's a huge thing. France coming on board. Now, Keir Starmer's getting pressure today from Britons saying we want the UK to recognize Palestine. I mean, will he do it? Maybe, probably not. But it's not definitely not, is it? And so the fact that it's not definitely not is a major change there. So the point is, these guys, they have to walk it back. Now, it's embarrassing to listen to them say things like, we need a two-state solution. I'd like to welcome you to 1974. I mean, it's like that ship sailed, left, sunk to the bottom of the sea, rotted, is now a reef at the bottom of the sea. It's done. Nobody wants it. Most of all, Israel doesn't want it, but the Palestinians don't want it. And you can plainly see It will not work. I was, back in the 80s, I thought that was a good idea too. When I visited Israel and the West Bank a week before the Second Intifada, and right before all hell broke loose, right? And the thing is, at the time, you could really see, oh, these two countries, they're economically codependent. They're going to work with each other. They're going to have to. They're neighbors. I walked around the old city of Jerusalem, and there were Israeli police officers training their Palestinian Authority counterparts one-on-one, and sitting around smoking and joking, and it was like, oh, I can see the future here. Well,
Yeah.
that had about a week to go, and that was it, never to be seen again, right? And so reality is really biting these guys in the ass. And I mean, I'd be laughing about it, and I am laughing about it, except for the fact that we're talking about, genocide. So it's not really a laughing matter.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh,
Basically, they're
Jamal,
immoral.
you're muted.
No? Can you guys hear me?
Or you know what? That's me. I got it. I'll take care of it.
Oh, okay.
I got it. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Personally, I think they're immoral. I agree with you that they don't believe in anything. It's what is in my political advantage in the moment. And in this case, they're like, all right, it's in our political advantage to give lip service to something that but see, I think that's the difference. I think they do believe in it. I think they're just immoral. I think they look at Israel and they look at it as it's our colony. It's a European colony. We have 800,000 Americans that are living there, and that is our military base in the Middle East. And we may not have morals in the sense of this right or wrong stuff, but in geopolitical interests, it serves our geopolitical interests. And so we will give lip service. We're protected. We will go to the ICJ and make the argument that Israel has the right to starve 2 million people or 8 million people. Or 2 million people, I should say. Meaning, I do think they believe in it. I think they believe in it in a geopolitical sense. I think these guys are neocons. I think they are immoral. I think evil is a good word for it. I think Tucker Carlson uses that word. I think that we're legit for it. And so if it takes starving 2 million people, then that's what they do. If it takes defending that, that's what they do. When they see that the public has turned against them on it, they will give lip service to it, just like Joe Biden did. When Joe Biden would come back and say, hey, I think this is horrible. I think this is bad. We're fighting tirelessly for a two-state solution. That was nonsense. He wasn't doing it. Explicitly not. Israel even came out and said, thank God Joe Biden was in office. God put Joe Biden in office because Joe Biden didn't pressure us on anything. So I think they do care because it's not just meaning this is not ethereal, right? This is not conceptual. There is a physical matter reality war for land that Israel wants to take that just so happened to the misfortune of the Palestinians that they were living there first. That the U.S. has decided this gives us a pivot point in the Middle East for us to be able to project power through the Middle East, through our colony. So I agree with you that they have no morals, but I disagree in the sense that there is something physical on the ground that colony of squatters allows them to effect, and that's to project power. Just like NATO, right? NATO is a power projection device in Europe. Israel is a power projection device in the Middle East.
Well,
that's kind of the way it's it.
I mean, look, you're right about that. But I think I think it depends on each politician that we're talking about, right? Who are we talking about? I mean, so certainly the point of view you're articulating is a neocon, and I'm going to give those people credit, not something I normally do. They have an ideological foundation that basically says America first in a sort of imperialistic way. And,
yes.
And like Imperial Rome, we will exploit the provinces and bring the wealth back to us, but not really to the people here, but just to the elites. But it is a coherent, cohesive ideology, which is this is about material, political, ideological, and cultural extraction from foreign
Sorry,
countries.
God said, I'm so sorry to interrupt. They're still complaining that your volume is too low.
Huh.
They're screaming at me over and over again.
Are
Ted,
they
we can't
really?
hear him. Ted, we can't hear him.
I don't know what to do. I mean,
Is
I can
there
be
a
closer.
volume button at the
Yeah.
bottom of your computer?
Yeah.
If you
It's.
if you
Let's
click
see.
on it and you see the mic part, if you move that up just a little bit,
Okay, I just did that. Is that any good? Is that better?
a little bit more.
Okay, there, right there.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay. Let's go with what you got. I'm sorry. Please continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you. They were like screaming, Ted, we can't hear him.
Okay,
Still
all right. I'll be as close to the mic as possible. All right,
Okay.
but basically, it's an ideology. They have a cohesive ideology. Now, Hakeem Jeffries, okay, he's from Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Okay, he went to NYU Law School. He's a New Yorker. I find it extremely difficult to believe that Hakeem Jeffries, as a young man, was staying up late at night thinking, Israel now, Israel forever. I don't believe that. I think that when he got into the Democratic Party establishment and decided to become a politician, that he was told, you have to do this in order to be part of our club. That's what I think. And I think that, and then like maybe with someone like Chuck Schumer, okay, he's Jewish. So maybe that comes in baked naturally. But I think it really depends. I don't think Barack Obama woke up, in Chicago one morning and said, God, Israel's awesome. And I'll back them up no matter what they do. So, I mean, I think it depends. And I think you're right that certainly that's the way like the imperialist theorists view Israel. No question about it. But I think most of the other ones are going along. Then there's a lot of people who go along out of fear, right? And maybe Hakeem Jeffries is one of them. I mean, I have to admit, for many, many years, I was hesitant to ever do cartoons criticizing Israel. I still did. I said I was hesitant, but I did it. Because you have to. You're afraid of something, but you do it anyway. But I knew that every time I did it, I'd be accused of being an anti-Semite, which is gross, and you don't want to be accused of being an anti-Semite. So, therefore, I think it's important to understand that there's a lot of things here. This is a fascinating moment because basically what we're witnessing is one of those historical moments when the spell is about to break and everyone's going to get real, and then it's going to go the other way around. I mean, Israel is going to be a pariah state. There's no question about it. There's no coming back now. And even if Netanyahu were replaced by a liberal regime in Israel, which I don't see happening, again, it just wouldn't. It's over. It's like basically U.S. unvarnished global support for Israel is finished. The U.S. will be the last friend of Israel, and even that's not going to last forever. I mean, it's going to be an apartheid state. I mean, it is an apartheid state. It's going to be a pariah state forever and ever. And they're going to collapse because it's a welfare state. They get all of their money from us. We run interference for their bullshit in the UN Security Council. We give them, intel support where we cooperate with the Mossad. They can't live without us. They can't. A little bird can't fly free. You go there and you can see why. Because it's Vegas. Like Vegas couldn't live on its own. It has to get water piped in from other places. It has to have electricity piped in from other places. Food brought in from nothing grows there. It's Vegas. There's nothing there. It's just rocks and sand. So, like, everything's piped in.
No, that's a good point. And I've heard a lot of people say that. It's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. It's going to fall. There's no way it can keep going. It's a pariah state. Yeah. I mean, we may be the last man supporting a pariah state. But at some point, there will be a political leader. And he would say, we're done with this. I mean, we're talking about 20-year-olds who are angry, pissed off that we're effectively supporting the state. So you might be right. You might be entirely right.
Yeah, and we are. And people, it's like one of the ADL, they have this ridiculous definition of anti-Zionism being the same as anti-Semitism. And one of their interesting that we don't talk about this much on the left, but we should. They say attacking Israel for doing things that other countries do, but specifically attacking them, like treating them differently, right? It's like, okay, well, there is a difference when your country is paying for it. Okay, So if Myanmar oppresses the Rohingya, that's atrocious and obviously should be condemned. But we're not paying the Myanmar government at all. We're not so it's not. We have no responsibility. Our hands are clean, like Pontius Pilate, all gone. It's like, but that's not true. Israel is the number one U.S. ally, number one, recipient of U.S. military, foreign, and aid and assistance and financial assistance. So that's different. I mean, it's all the difference in the world.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I've had this argument with people from Africa where they would say, well, you don't care about the Congo. And it's like, dude, I'm not paying for the Congo. Like, I'm not paying 70 to 80% of the killing, the murders, everything else that is taking place. I have a special interest in this because we are paying for it. No, I agree with you 1,000%.
I mean, look, I care about the Congo. It's just that, in the hierarchy of priorities, it's just not the top priority for an American